my mom. That person. But
That is her version of an introduction at the moment. Nicola, thank you so much for coming on. I am so terrible at introducing our guests that those AI programs that determine whether or not you're using AI technology have said my introductions are AI generated. Would you mind introducing yourself so we don't get this flagged as AI?
Okay, that's actually really funny. Because when I introduce people, I have the same problem. But when I introduce myself, it's really weird, right? Because you never really know what to say. But in summary, my name is Nicola. I live in New Zealand. I work for an NGO in New Zealand, and I'm head of safety and risk for the NGO. I also have my own podcast where we talk about a whole bunch of toxic workplace stories. And one of those particular stories spoke about autism in the workplace. And we interviewed a really cool guy to talk about it. And it was around the same time that I got my son diagnosed with autism. And a couple of years after that, I got late diagnosed with autism and ADHD, so a bit of ADHD. And that is what brings us here today, is to chat about that.
I am always interested when I talk to people who got late diagnosed with both of those because I was diagnosed very early with both of them. And as a girl, getting diagnosed with autism or ADHD is still odd. And both Lita and I were diagnosed with that before we could even remember. And I was barely in double digits when they're like, yes, you have ADHD.
They are so terrible at diagnostics. I want to say diagnosticsness. Yeah, it's so interesting. And I find it interesting that they have now, like since 2013, only allowed those to be like a comorbidity, which is really interesting as well. And I can see why they've taken so long to do it, because there were so many overlaps, but also so many differences. And then I actually think they really need to categorize ADHD as its own separate thing now.
I think they should just make for outside of our little community. Because yes, we need to have our little label diagnoses in our community, but I can't think for outside, we should just go, look, this is all neurodivergence. You guys need to understand we're just all weird.
Something spicy going on.
And especially because I talk to a lot of parents who are neurotypical. And I do not know what I would have done with a neurotypical child. I am lucky she is not neurotypical. I would not know how to deal with neurotypical. I'm sorry. That is a weird foreign concept to me.
So we've got, so I've got my son and he's autistic. He's only been diagnosed, I'd say probably for the last 3 or 4 years. But before that, I probably wasn't aware enough of what I was looking for. There were definitely things that would have given it away if I was aware. And now I've got a wonderful partner with 2 absolutely awesome bonus children. And one of them is neurotypical. I'd say the other is probably not. That's not my place to say, though, just to be clear. But I don't know what I'm doing. I've got these great strategies for my autistic child, and that's what I'm really good at. Neurotypical children are weird, man.
Echo.
Hello, welcome.
see it. I am diagnosing it. So it's not yourself. That's not how you think vocabulary.
I don't know.
I feel like I'm like that at the moment as well, where I'm like, you've got autism, you've got autism, you've got autism. And then my partner's like, does everyone have? I'm like, no. No, I can tell you which people are neurotypical, and those people are very interesting. I don't know how their brains work.
I don't. And I wanted to ask, because I know you were late diagnosed, but it's not like you didn't have autism and ADHD previous to that. It's just they didn't diagnose you till later. Was there a lot of stuff that, like now you are saying, well, I could have if I'd known that was different. Was a lot of the stuff with your son just stuff that to you was just normal? That's how people act, that they then went, oh, that's autism.
Yes. What I've found really interesting, actually, is since getting his diagnosis and then getting mine, I found that our communication, so my son is the same age as you, ma'am. And what I found, though, is our communication is a lot faster, because we literally only need like 1 or 2 words and we get the entire conversation done in like 2 words, unless either of us are info dumping. But it's like, oh, okay, He's like, what time are we leaving? 12. That's all we needed. We don't need to know, are we getting in the car to go somewhere? Are we doing, what time are we leaving? 12. Done. Okay, conversation is over for at least 3 days.
Understandable. But yeah, like I know a lot of people were like, well, when did you notice she does things different than you? And I'm like, never.
Yeah. I definitely noticed that he was doing things differently to me because I was like, oh, I don't quite understand what's going on here. Like, this doesn't look like the other kids. Still not working.
Working now. She's like over there going, please be good, please be good.
Yeah, he just, if you look at the other kids at like kindy or whatever, they were very different. And I was like, are we different or are they different?
She was
I just
so
went
young.
to Montessori. And all those kids were children of politicians, cops, and lawyers. And we were all
Few zookeepers and
autistic.
doctors.
So the only time I noticed anything different was when I did only 5 months in normal school. That was only 5 months. And I was immediately taken out. I was not used to children that were children of cops, politicians, and lawyers.
Let's be honest. Montessori tends to attract a certain group of
It's
people.
called the lawyers, the cops, and the
demographic.
It's a certain demographic, and we were living, her dad's military, we were living in Florida. There was a Montessori just down the street. They didn't see the autism as it was being diagnosed. And I'm like, that's because you're all autistic, but I'm not going to tell you that. But, things like they had the school system sent in an ABA therapist to try and help her work within this school structure. And her Montessori teacher was like, if she wants to run around, why is she not allowed to run around? I'm confused. And the school system's like, but they have to sit still. And her Montessori teacher's like, no, they don't.
What happened when the school gave me a therapist?
That way. But then she did go to traditional school and it just was not for her. But she was diagnosed at 3 and it was, harder to catch some of those stuffs. Because yes, I knew she was late speaking. I had gone to the doctor and we got to get her into speech and language pathology like yesterday. She's not speaking. And even the doctor was like, I think she has autism. And I'm like, no, she's just not speaking. And like her dad and I both had speech and language pathology forever. So what's wrong with this? And when we went to get her diagnosed, her developmental pediatrician's like, okay, well, let's get a family history. Has anyone ever been diagnosed with autism in your family? And I'm like, well, I have it. My husband has it.
all
My
of them?
nephews have.
Even the dead ones? I don't care if they weren't diagnosed. They should have been. The dead ones should have been.
And there was her developmental pediatrician was autistic is autistic himself. He has autistic kids. And he's like, just remember, like mumbling to himself, I have to actually do the diagnostic. I have to actually do the diagnostic.
Anymore.
Okay. Just because his son is a neurosurgeon doesn't mean his
old
dad
is he
doesn't think
now?
he's still a kid.
Hey, I'm still someone's kid.
Yeah. But like that was because I'm always interested because like to me, it was just she was normal. Everything she does is normal. Half the stuff she does, my husband does. So this is just normal for us. Was that as you were learning the diagnoses was part of going, oh, I should have caught that like, oh yeah, I totally thought that was just how everyone acted.
I think there was a bit of that, but I think so. My mum was really strict. It was like essentially having ABA in home. And so she was incredibly strict about the way you acted or the way you behaved or the way that you delivered yourself in public. So I can see how for me, I very carefully fitted into this little box of performative like behavior. And I made my son fit into that same box where I was like, this is what I was taught to do. So obviously that's the thing that you're supposed to do, right? Obviously. So I taught him that same box where I was like, and you've got to do this and you have to sit in this certain way and you can only talk at this time and you respond in this way. Now, what's interesting with him, I think because I had been put in that box very, very early, and I'd kind of put him in the box as well very early, his kind of social skills and his ability to read sarcasm there is nothing there. So his ability to do that was like, as he got older and he started understanding sarcasm, he was just like, why are people being so silly? Like, this is the dumbest humor ever. And then I introduced him to dad jokes and he was like, this is the best humor ever because it's so literal. But like through that process, I think that's why we were probably both really late diagnosed, was because I had put him in that same behavior box as I had because I just thought that was how you raise kids. Like, what do I know? I literally know nothing. Raising kids you're winging it 90% of the time.
I will admit she has not been raised the way I was raised because I did not like how I was raised. And my husband was like, this is not how we should be raised because both of us were told to not be neurodivergent. And both of us had a good 10 years between getting married and having her. And we're like, yeah, nope, we've just been too neurodivergent ourselves for too long. We cannot go back into that box.
Yeah. I think it would have definitely, if I had known earlier, I think I probably would have changed my approach quite a bit as a parent. But, hindsight is 2020, right?
She also, like she said, I have a lot of friends who are lawyers, doctors, who are all on the spectrum, and they were all treating her not to be in that box because they had all gotten out of the box, and they're like, see, the thing was you were nonverbal and we didn't know you were picking up
and
those
not my
curse
fault
words.
you didn't check to make sure the child that was non-verbal and non-responsive wasn't becoming responsive. Not my fault.
So she may know some words she shouldn't know.
Same girl, same. I know words I shouldn't know.
Well, at least it
And
was
she might use
better
them.
than getting bribed in coffee since I was 1.5. And they say,
Was your
"Don't
pediatrician's
give your
fault?"
child coffee. Hey, you never stopped bribing me in coffee. You never stopped.
Okay, so her pediatrician at the time and I were really good friends. We would go out to Starbucks for coffee, and she's like, "It's not fair. Lita doesn't have coffee, and Lita didn't like chocolate milk or anything, so she'd get her little frappuccinos." And I'm like, "Hi, I have to go to your office to talk to your physician's assistant
And yet
about
I'm
my
not
child.
the one
You're coming
addicted
to the."
coffee.
I'm not getting yelled at this. The pediatrician gave it. The pediatrician better dang well be at that appointment getting the yelling.
No, than I wanted to.
I don't highly suggest being friends with your child's care team if you have to bring anyone else in to have the appointments with, because you're like, hi, you're coming with me. I am not getting the yelling by myself, because it should be the pediatrician who's not giving the child
it was a good
frappuccinos.
bribe that you never stopped bribing me with.
Cute. Obviously, she did not get raised the way I was raised, because we would not have been having coffee that early. Or being
because according to my mother, coffee gives you fleas in your tummy.
a stunted growth. And I'm like, at 5'7", I'm glad it was stunted.
Seeing how tall I've been growing, I don't think it stunted my growth. Don't you keep saying
Then definitely fleas in your stomach. Definitely. Sure.
Yeah, and I don't think it stunts your growth because I've been growing like 7 inches like every week.
That sounds like
Not
my
quite.
son at the moment as well, because I'm really tall. I'm almost 6 foot, and my ex-husband is like 6'5", and so my son is like he's creeping up. He's creeping up to like 5'7" at the minute.
Yes, and all my family members are in the 7s.
Well, not quite.
But
My
they're tall.
uncle, yeah, it just feels that way. My uncle's 6'11". My grandpa was 6'10". Most of my husband's family, he's short at like 5'11", and everyone else is up in the 6 feet.
Lemon is still tall.
He feels short.
They're families.
And I'm short for my family at 5'7". So
She not tall for her family. He not tall for his family. This tall family. Not average human being height's family.
I did want to, because I'm always interested in the late diagnoses.
Yes. Hit me up.
What was it like to get that diagnosis? Because I was so young, I don't remember a time I wasn't neurodivergent. What was it like hearing it later in life?
It's really weird. Because you kind of feel valid. Like, okay, so it's a bit of a hybrid. On one hand, you feel really validated. And then on the other hand, you're like, why did everybody miss this? Why, like, how much effort and how much energy have I put in to pretending to be neurotypical that no one picked this up sooner other than me? And then what's really annoying about it is once you start telling people about it, they're like, oh, yeah, totally makes sense. It's like, and you didn't think to maybe say something earlier so that we could maybe do this for longer, because it's so interesting, because you end up having almost like I read about it And then I was like, no, that's not going to happen to me. I'm way too smart. But you almost have like a skills regression where you're like, oh, actually, these things that I've been working really hard at masking are actually things I can't control. And then you just kind of let them go and you almost regress. So I've noticed, like more so recently, if I'm really tired or overstimulated, I lose the ability to speak properly and I can't put words together. I can't put sentences together. I can think through the process really quickly, but I essentially become nonverbal. Like I'm confused, like the words almost come out like you're having a stroke. And it's really weird. And this has been like a new development essentially. And I think what would have happened previously is I would have like kind of shut down part of my brain and just maintained a facade that was even more exhausting. And now that I don't kind of have to do that, where I can just turn around and be like, okay, no, I don't need to do that. Yesterday at work, though, I had a bit of a butting of heads with someone where I was sitting downstairs and I don't know if you can see them, but we've got these like ceiling lights.
I hate those things. Those make noise.
A, they make noise. B, it's like the surface of the sun above my head. So the properties guy has this clicker where he can aim it at the light and switch the light to like dim, like a dim light. And I was like, you've had this the entire time and you're making me like, I'm literally sitting in the office thinking maybe I should get like a hat. Maybe I should just get like a hat that I can wear in the office or like sunglasses maybe. I'm like, okay, sunglasses. I'm like, maybe I could just wear sunglasses. So anyway, I've got like a face on because my face just never lies. And I've got this like, I'm sitting at my desk and I'm just like, oh, why is the surface of the sun above my head? And someone else came over. They're like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm really struggling with the light at the moment. They're like, oh, is it the autism? I was like, yes, it actually is. It is actually. This is what's causing the problems today. So this very kind person went over to properties and properties came over and they were like, why is it bothering you? I was like, sir. He's like, it's not bothering anyone else. I was like, sir. I was like, it's not going to bother anyone else because they're not autistic. And he's like, oh, so frustrating. I was like, oh, is that how we treat people though? Is that how we're treating people? I'm very confused. So yeah, so I had a bit of a fisticuffs yesterday. So it's a bit frustrating because I think when you meet me, and I think the other thing as well is that skills regression. When you meet me, I've created like this persona that is very friendly and very extroverted and very like, hey, come and chat, let's share information, very supportive, very helpful. But then in reality, when you actually kind of peel that like facade back, really don't want to leave the house. Also don't like making eye contact with people, especially when they're really close to me. And I actually really struggle with that now where before I would like force myself to do it because I was like, this is what's normal. And now I just don't. I just sit there and I'm like, okay, well, we can have a whole conversation with me looking at the table. We're good.
That is one of the reasons she had problems in dance studios with the eye contact thing. By the time she came along, I was like, I am tired of masking. I am done masking. I have gotten up. By the time you were born, I started not masking as much because it's like, I'm tired. I am done. I have done this my entire life because I was from the generation we were taught to mask. Not a smart idea, everyone. And then her teachers would get upset because they're like, she's not looking me in the eye and she's not listening. And I'm sitting there going, would
She
you
is.
like to see all the journals we have that say looking you in the eye means I'm not listening to you? Which one would you like her to do? And it turns out dance teachers don't know what academic journals are.
I think there's a lot of people that don't know what academic journals are.
But I have a PhD in a field of science. So my first go-to is the academic journals.
Being the child of two scientists and in the world of arts. That's the only downside to my life. That's literally the only downside to my life because I know everything scientifically and I work with people who do not. That's the only freaking downside. Also, plus, do you know how many times in freaking dance they bring up science even though they don't know science and they do scientific things wrong and they bring up physiology and they do it wrong. And I'm like, that's not how it works. And they're like, I don't care. And I'm like, then why are you telling these children wrong science who are like 6 and 5 who are gonna stick with that wrong science? I don't care if you're gonna go. That's the science we knew back when I was a child. No, they had better science back then, and they actually knew we already knew this back then. It's just your schools were stupid. And don't you dare tell me it's because that's what I learned. Then just learn new stuff. If you can't teach your old dog new tricks, you can learn new tricks, or else the dog's smarter than you and somehow got brain and you only got STEM.
I'm going to use that. I'm going to use if you can teach an old dog new tricks, then the dog is smarter than you.
She has an opinion on this. She got.
Hey, I love that opinion because I am going to use that.
She also got in trouble because they would come to stuff and they'd come out to me and go, she doesn't understand science. And I'm like, look, everything you just said, we have known is wrong for like 30 or 40 years. It's not my fault. It hasn't been in the textbooks.
Also not my fault that a child who likes zoology knows more about zoology than you.
And working with autistic kids, I'm going to try to be nice. They had good hearts. They just didn't know what they were doing. And autistic kids know what they know. And once
They
you have
do.
proven you're stupid, they don't listen after that. And then you add having a very autistic mom come in, and once you've proven you're stupid to mom, I quit listening to you too.
Okay, I find this really, really hilarious because it's actually just only dawned on me that you're right. I stop listening if you prove that you're stupid. Like, if you prove that you have got no capacity for further development or learning, I like almost lose interest in you, where it's like, why? Why don't you want to learn more? And if if the most recent research that I've read on a topic about a thing, if that is not the most recent research and you are going to challenge that, then tell me very clearly why you're challenging it. And I would love to hear. I would love to change my opinion on that if it is backed by science and research. Thanks.
That backed by science and research things is the key, because some of the stuff she was getting was calling gorillas monkeys, which, I mean, we kind of, stupid stuff like that, where it's like, so that's why she threw the
Originally
zoology
from
in it.
Africa, and gorillas are definitely not monkeys.
Yes, and these were the people who grew up with silly songs with Larry. I guess they didn't listen to the cucumber. You know what it said when the cucumber has brains, but you don't. That's just sad.
VeggieTales may be only an American thing, but we had these like cartoon vegetables that everyone had in Sunday school that taught you like Bible stories, and one of them was a cucumber named Larry, and he did like silly songs, and one of them was, it's not a monkey, it's an ape if it doesn't have a tail. And my child's like, they sang it to preschoolers in Sunday school. You should know it. VeggieTales is a
No,
very
I
American
think
thing.
that is just an American thing. We just had like actual baboons and apes. Like, that's what we had.
We have a world-class zoo up the way that just had another baby gorilla. So
Cute. Oh, that would be so cute.
it's so cute, and it's the mom's 5th baby.
That's a bit cute. I do love. Look, I've got like this weird feeling about the zoo, especially the zoo here in Wellington, because they've got like this cute wee African section, but it's just like a couple of gazelle and a giraffe, and I'm like, I don't know if I love that. It's way too cold for them here. And we've got some snow leopards, and like always when I walk around though, I'm like, this is not where you should be.
Most of the animals at our zoo, especially in the North American exhibit, they kind of need to be there because they can't be in the wild. They've almost all been exclusively rescued from our forest. And so last time I was there, someone was complaining about the bald eagle, and I'm like, it's illegal in the States to keep a bald eagle in captivity that can live on its own. That is why the bald eagle is not flying. And the moose
Also,
is
plus the bald eagle doesn't have one of its wings.
probably why it's not flying.
It'll fly in a circle.
It's tried really hard, but I mean, people are like, why won't you let it free? And it's like, because a one-winged bald eagle and
Also, plus, it's in a thing with no roof. So, yeah. I think if it could, it would. But it can't fly. And it's in a thing where it could escape if it was able to fly.
It could claw its way out, maybe.
it could if it wanted to.
If it wanted to, but it gets free food. And scratchies. And toys.
I would stay for free food and scratchies, let's be honest.
Yes. And our gorilla facility is one of the top facilities in the world. And the mom who just gave birth to the baby, she was the first gorilla in captivity to be raised by her own mom.
It's a bit cute.
Yeah. And so she's been studied like all over because back in the 90s, we thought gorillas could not raise their own babies. We've come far in our scientific understandings.
Okay,
I do love me some science.
Okay, that one seems stupid because if they couldn't raise their own babies, how are they in the wild? If you can't raise your
Oh,
own baby, wouldn't it be dead?
They have like a matriarchal system and then they pass the baby around from memory.
And for some reason, the zoos were like, well, you can't do that in captivity. But now we have learned differently because we build on science. It didn't stop while you were in elementary school. But back to the autism thing, she focused on that. She's like, you don't know your zoology, so why should I trust you with anything
I
else?
also
And they're
won
like,
all the arguments. I won all of them. Because I went on to good old YouTube and realized the child was right.
but it is, I think, hard for some of these adults to understand. Autistic people, we will clock your facts. And if we know your facts are wrong,
You're dead to us, essentially.
you're dead to us. And there have been times someone has published a paper I did not know of yet, and someone else has gone, hey, Amanda, your facts are wrong. Let me send you the paper. And I'm like, ooh, send me the paper. I need the paper.
You know what? And as I say, I'm happy to hear when I got it wrong. Like, I'm happy to hear. I'm more than happy to build on like information. Happy to listen. But if you're coming at me with the wrong facts, or if you know what I get really frustrated with as well is someone will show you like a graph on a screen and then the graph is like trending or whatever. And they've cherry picked how the graph is displayed to make themselves feel better about like a thing. And it's like, wait, when you look at that holistically with the rest of like the graph from the thing, actually it's trending down and that's not good for you.
No, we're still doing science over here in this country, I think. I'll let you know if it's continuing.
Look,
But
tenuous at best.
it's, and I've talked to my friends in Canada and Britain and France and everywhere. We're just all having issues right now. But one of my buddies was like, you're off on your neurology. You didn't see the latest journal of neurology, did you? And I was like, no. Did it come out this week? And they're like, yeah, it came out a week early. You got to go see the new stuff on the brain scans. It's not that the brain is firing differently. The brain looks different, Amanda. And I'm like running to my computer to pull it up. But then I'm telling the neurotypical parents, I'm like, see, what you have to understand now is we just like April of this year. So it's newer stuff. So
I've seen that
okay.
article. It looks amazing. It's like a brightly colored like rainbow map.
Yeah, and it's like this is not we're just slightly different than y'all. This is
This is an entire different like anatomy.
And trying to explain that to some of the neurotypical parents because we're having some issues with her nonprofits, and the neurotypical parents are like, she'll get over it if the nonprofit folds. And I'm like, no, neurotypical people don't tend to get over things like that.
Yeah.
Because
It's
people
amazing
aren't
how I love that we can hold a grudge. Like we will hold a grudge for a long time.
I have someone that I've been holding a grudge with for over 2 decades now, and what they did was not to me, it was to one of my interns, and I'm like, "You will go find the intern 20 years later and apologize to them if you want me to think differently."
There's still places I won't eat because I'm like, wow, you were rude. I will never go back.
Don't think that's because that was one of the things someone asked was, "Well, when did you realize she held grudges longer than other people?"
Yeah.
Just
And on the studio thing, if this thing folds, I'm giving up on dance. But still doing
Folding.
flamenco.
We have people
Because I don't want my ass to be dead. Because I know certain people who taught me flamenco will kill me if I give up and don't do flamenco ever again. They will kill me. They will kill me.
they are also autistic, and they have taught her flamenco, so she must continue remembering the dance. You know how that
I
is.
will not give up on if this falls because I'm not facing the wrath of Scary Woman.
Once
here.
we teach you a skill, we expect you to remember that skill forever. But yeah, that was one of the things they were asking me, or they've even asked since she's older. Well, when did you start realizing she carries grudges differently than you do? And I'm like, I don't think you understand. I am autistic. I also
How
carry
to
grudges.
carry grudges from my mother. I also learned to fear out of respect, like a good child, like a good little political child.
She heard me destroying. I'm in politics. I might go after people's
When
careers
she's scary,
every now
she's
and then.
scary. I fear
Um,
her out of
but
respect for my mother.
not real fear. Like
What?
she doesn't
No, it's
fear that I'm going to.
respectful fear. There's a difference between fear and fear out of
See,
respect.
Child Protective Services gets called on me. You don't think I'm going to hurt you?
What? No.
But I always
No.
like ever since my son was little, I always like I don't know if it's like a South African thing, but there's always this like threat of violence, and I then, but like it's always a threat. Like it's like, oh, I'll take a finger. Oh, you're going to keep touching that. I will take that finger. Thank you. Oh, you're going to keep putting your feet on that. I will take that foot. Thank you. I will take the whole leg if I need to. Oh, I'm going to cut that off, or I'll beat you with a stick. Please, they do not eventuate into anything. And then I discovered that actually the threat of violence, regardless of what it was, is a South African thing. My family's from the South and from Texas, and I got that threat of violence. But because we knew she was autistic so early on, it was, no, she's going to take that literally. Don't do it. I didn't realize
I'm a
that he was going to
violent
take it
child.
literally. No, mine was, we know she's going to take
I'm
it
still a
literally because
violent
we have her.
child. They tried their damnedest. I'm still violent.
Not violent, but I think that's because COVID just ruined your generation on mental health. Um, that was yeah. Gen Alpha needs a lot of studies to find out what's going on with them mentally. Wow, Gen Alpha really had like the weirdest time in COVID, like so bonkers. Like
Your
I just
son's
think like I am no way, shape or form. Look, I can if you give me a week prep, but there's no way, shape or form that I was ever going to become a teacher during COVID. Like I wasn't prepared for that. I am not skilled in that area. And it was not for me. She's
Yeah.
homeschooled, so we did not have
As
that
a plus, I
problem.
don't know what it's like over where you live, but here in America, like all the teenage Gen Alphas are chopped liver, and the younger Gen Alphas are apparently the actual Gen Alphas, and the teenage Gen Alphas, the older Gen Alphas, the elder Gen Alphas apparently don't exist. Apparently, I'm chopped liver here.
Calm down slightly.
So is my son.
Like, yeah, there, and it's like all the studies have been on Gen Z missing school dances, and I'm like, the kids that were in elementary school and born during that, we might want to check. I think we do because, like, I look at the two little ones, in our team, and they're so codependent on mum and dad. Like they're so like they don't have a lot of resilience that I've noticed. And I'm like, how do you teach that resilience now? Because now they've had this like cocooned couple of years, especially in New Zealand, right? Because we were lauded as the best response to COVID, like one of the best responses to COVID, right? Thank you, Jacinda. And it's really interesting because it was so cocooned and so safe that it's like, now how do you teach resilience around a space that now isn't safe? And I know with her age over here, her dad and I were both in work where she got to hear us talking about plans being made at government levels. So she was hearing all the garbage going on. Plus, we had the George Floyd and Black Lives Matter stuff on TV.
You guys had
And it was like,
so much.
and I'm like, these kids have come out like Gen Xers. They have no fear. They've made it through.
Just ripping
very
up band-aids and going.
Yeah. I'm like, you guys think Gen Z is dependent. These kids are dependent, but they're going to be out drinking from the water hose again and riding their bikes until the streetlights come on. And they have no fear of death. They just like, I'll be in the tree climbing. And I'm like, this is a
Oh.
different.
Yeah.
No fear of death. And then you've got my son who has like a limited capacity to understand consequences. Like his level of consequence think through is barely any. And I think probably one of the key highlights for me was realizing that because I walked outside and he was like making like a cool swing in the tree and he was like high up in the tree. And then I realized he had a rope around his neck and he was just using it to keep him in the tree. And I was like, do you realize if you fall out of the tree, you're hanging yourself? He's like, no, it's fine. I was like, sir.
We're at 7 minutes, and I let myself have too much fun.
Yes.
Yeah. Also, I would like to
We
note that I
didn't
have a
start.
bad right hip, so I am the only Gen that you'll probably, the only Gen Alpha that you'll probably see not climbing a tree because I can't climb. It's bad right hip.
She's got a bad right hip. She popped her hip out of joint at 11 months and it never healed, so she can't really climb up the tree. She's tried.
Sounds like it would give troubles.
And you had, because you and your son didn't get the diagnoses until after COVID, then for the autism diagnoses. We had hers beforehand, and trying to do COVID therapies online for months was fun.
I can only imagine. Like the pace and speed at which people moved to online delivery, it was so, like, in many instances it was really ham-handed and not well thought out. And I think if we had like maybe just done some business continuity planning prior to that and actually done some case scenarios, I think it would have flowed a lot better, and our purpose and value would have been a little bit more embedded for online delivery of many things. Like, what is the purpose of us doing this? Do we actually need to catch up like online every second week?
Or for like her, it was we're going to move her physical therapy to Zoom.
Yes, that
And
works.
it did not work. I can tell you it did not work. We're going to move her occupational therapy to Zoom. We're going to move her speech therapy to Zoom. And for some reason in our state, while on Zoom, the speech therapist, because they had gone to the office to do it, they were all wearing the masks. So they're like, you need to have your lips look exactly like my mouth looks that you can't see because I have a mask on.
Makes no sense.
And
That's
I'm like,
silly.
we lost a lot of those early intervention years for the kids with autism.
Yeah, we did. And I
And
think, like, I think, but also I think COVID in a way was really good to spot the people that actually needed help, that they were maybe on the fence about it. And then we're like, oh, actually, this is, now that I'm at home alone and I've got no structure in place, this is clearly something we need to address.
it was good on many levels. I just really cannot wait to see the studies on Gen Alpha and what COVID did to them, because all the studies coming out are Gen Z missing prom, Gen Z missing graduation. And it's like, these
But who
guys were missing.
cares?
Yeah.
Like, oh,
It's like,
boo-hoo,
I
you
know
missed
that's a
something.
big, huge thing to you, but you'll
That's
survive. These kids were missing out on those early days of interacting with people.
Yeah. Well, you know what's really interesting is, like, so often, and I've spoken to so many people about it, is, obviously everyone's had a mixed experience with like that lockdown space, right? And I know people that, like, it brings up trauma because they hated being locked down so much. And I'm like, my son and I thrived. We didn't have to talk to people. We could do what we wanted. We could, like, we were living in our own little nest of joy. It was a time we had like a structured routine that we followed every day. Like, there was like little, we had sticky notes on the fridge so we could move them around. Like, it was a whole system. Like, we had created like an entire system to make it work. And it's like, if we could go back, that would be great.
Also,
For some parts of
plus,
COVID,
to
I
my
miss.
older Gen Z friends that I know are the only Gen Zers with brains because you are my friends, and I only make friends with people who have brains. Oh, boo-hoo, the Gen Zers didn't get to ask out their crush from a boo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Oh, boo-hoo-hoo. It's all like they missed out their childhood, like the Gen Alphas. Oh, boo-hoo, he didn't get to dance in a circle for hours. I mean, weird, awkward, I don't know
The
what Gen Z
noise
were at
that
teens, but
people-
weird things. Weird, I'm not touching your goody things.
people drinking out of the same, like, cup thing. Like, why are we all drinking out of the same cup thing? Why are you looking forward to that?
I mean, I'm so sorry.
I know with her, some of the big issues were when she went into COVID, she could still play on the playground. But by time the playgrounds opened back up where we were, she had aged out, and it wasn't appropriate for a child her age to be on the playground. And it's like, you guys, they
We're
missed out
at
on a lot there.
53 minutes.
She's really good at timekeeping. She's going to be a producer one of these
Okay,
days.
so basically, we're gonna ask you on the podcast again. Right, since they're fine with that. So, hello, Yeti. We'll be on the podcast again, and we'll probably have a whole subsection playlist with you in it. And so there's a whole scoreboard because apparently all our guests are making a scoreboard of how many times they've been on this podcast. So you're going to be on the scoreboard.
People, if they're okay coming back on the
I'm pretty
podcast, she
sure
might
she's
not have
okay.
had fun.
Yes.
I love this. This is a good chat. This is great.
We would love. We are coming up on the hour mark. We could keep talking forever.
Yep,
We would
yep.
love to have you back on the
Where can
podcast
people
again if
find
you're
you
up
on
for it.
socials? No.
You're like, I got the whole in spiel down.
I love the timekeeping. And I love the structure that you've now just moved into. You're just like, this is the point at which we're at. Let's continue.
So, we would love to have you back on the podcast again, Nicola, if you're up for it.
Sure. I love an early morning, so there's that.
We can even try and make it our early morning and your late evening if that works for
I'm
you.
better at early mornings because it means I can escape the house before all the children wake up.
Understandable. Where can people find you on all the socials?
Ooh, everywhere. You can just find me with my name. It's quite a unique name because it's actually a loud K, which is quite funny. And also very confusing when you're getting like a prescription at the pharmacy and you're like, hi, it's Nicola Knobel. And then they're like, how do you spell that? I'm like, K-N. And then they're like, Nicola Knobel. I'm like, no, Knobel with a K. It's very confusing and very stupid. But anyway, you can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram. I'm probably most active on Instagram because like it's fun. And that's, I think, our generation right now. And also really active on LinkedIn. So share a lot of like tools and tips for late diagnosed women in the workplace, especially in leadership. So yeah, that's kind of what I do.
And we will grab all that information from you, plus a short bio and a headshot if you're okay to put on our website so that everyone knows. That way everyone knows where to find you. It stays on there. I'm redoing it because it's gotten really long with all the guests. She's like, blah, blah, blah. We're going. She's a little timekeeper on me.
Yes, I
Can you
keep
tell?
going.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast. And like we said, we'd love to have you on again.
Sounds good. Love to be here. And you know what? I should bring my son along as well.
Yes, definitely bring him
I
along.
need to interact with other people my own age group. Please.
He is so lovely. He is so lovely. I'll have a chat with him because I'm sure he'd be keen.
Yeah. We will definitely do that. And we will talk to everyone later.
Yes.
Hello, thank you for watching the podcast and please subscribe and also look at the adorable paper if you want to subscribe for it and also please leave a like and don't forget if you subscribe to our stuff you won't miss any of our new podcast stuffies and also did you see the adorable paper? Don't you like it?